Hey guys, hello, my name is Matt McGinnis, and what you're watching is my presentation from Honors Forum 2 about civic engagement. Now, for me, I've learned quite a bit throughout this process, and throughout all these classes and all these blog posts, and I have a bunch to say, but I'm going to try to keep it around 5 minutes because that is the amount of time that was suggested, and since probably about 5 people will watch this. I don't want to waste that much time, but listen closely because you might actually get something really important out of this. The wonderful thing about civic engagement is it's not really tied to any responsibility in a way. What I've learned and gathered a lot from what these speakers were telling me is that civic engagement has always been painted for a long time as a sense of duty and responsibility. And now, don't get me wrong, I don't disagree with those notions at all. I don't, but I see it as just a little bit different. I probably define it a little bit different. Civic engagement to me and service, can be seen as a responsibility and a duty. But to me, it's way more than, what do I do with my loose change? Or my extra hour on a Saturday, or what do I do with this requirement for volunteer hours? It's become more of a requirement. It's become more of a duty. It's something you've been delegated at work, and it's not something that's easily tied to your passion or your desire to help those who are in need or to serve a certain organization. And now there's plenty of ways and facets by which we can get plugged in and serve effectively and do it while being passionate and focused. But there is a sense of obligation to our generation, especially college students. So I guess the main point I want to share is how we can deconstruct that and look at service as something less of an obligation and more so it should be a seed of desire and a seed of passion, knowing that we feel needs at times and so do others. And as a community, we can come together, not to sound cliche or we are the worldy, but to come together and really create something that doesn't just benefit each other, right? We don't do service because it benefits us. It might in turn, but we do it because it's the right thing to do. One speaker that stuck out to me a lot was Mr. Gross, who talked to us a lot about leadership and his job as a public servant. He is emerged in a very, very serious culture of service that is always watching him with such detail, with such focus. He shared with us a lot of personal experiences that have led him to make judgment calls and to really put his motivations on the line to see what it is that he really is passionate about. And what he shared with us was the importance of integrity and honesty. And we always attribute those to our jobs or like whatever tasks we're doing at the time, but he talked about how those are central to service. And I never thought of it like that. And he really, really, really impacted me in that way. And he shared with us a story of a man who made him promise a bunch of stuff and he would give him a vote for office. He was running for office at the time, and he told the guy no. And the reason he did that is simple, but very, very important in terms of service. He shared that service isn't about, doing what a select few wants you to do, but it's even more importantly to know that service isn't about doing what you want to do for whatever benefit. It's doing what's right. It's serving. It's putting others before yourself, their opinions, their needs, their desires. And while this man had a very specific desire and wanted something out of it, he knew that wasn't ethical, because ultimately that would tear down his integrity, that tear down his honesty. What's so honorable about doing something out of obligation when you're not wanting to do it for the sake of good? You're not wanting to do it for the sake of what is right. Mr. Gross really, really impacted me in that way, and I really appreciate his talk, and I really appreciated his insight on the issue. But anyway, in conclusion, He was definitely probably my favorite, although we had a lot of good speakers. But in conclusion, service, in a way, and I believe that civic engagement is a really good phrase to use when describing what's going on there. Engaging with the society, with your community, is so much more than just serving. It's so much more than picking up trash on the highway. It's so much more than working a few hours at the pound. All amazing things, but it's so much more than that. It has to do with our future. It has to do with the futures of every other person. It has to do with love and what we're called to do. And as a Christian, I'm drawn to understand that a calling of God and Scripture is to care for the needy, the impoverished, the ones who need the help. Because that is exactly what Christ has done for His church. And in a way, guys, I'm called to do this not only as a citizen of Florence, Alabama, but as a citizen of heaven, as a member of a community of friends who I love and care about, and I know they would do stuff for me. And guys, we just don't have enough time to focus on our goals and to find satisfaction there, and then at the same time go out and serve others and focus on their needs and try to help and engage a society and be a fruitful, productive member of society. We just don't have time for that. So I think the point here is, I think what we want is for people to drop something, clear it out. There is something applicable to this. Find what you're passionate about and remove something that's excess that might be serving yourself and devote that to others. We live in a world full of those who need help, who are just looking for that one person, that one action, and we're wasting time so focused on ourselves. We're wasting time to really make the impact we want to. So anyway, in conclusion, Honors Forum has been amazing, even last semester and this semester, and I've really loved it. I thank Dr. Bruton for his focus and devotion to the program, Dr. Driscoll and Laura Beasley, our guardian angel, and everyone else in the program. I've met amazing people here, and my mind has been flipped, turned, and twisted around, and has really brought me into newer light, and I feel much more prepared for the world ahead of me. So thank you for that, and hey guys, have a good one. Ronald Reagan!